I don't know about you, but I've been tremendously challenged and inspired by the example of the coach from the Boston Celtics, Joe Mazzulla. So personally, I don't really consider myself a huge NBA fan. Now, here in the fathers community, there's a few people that really enjoy basketball, and so I've definitely watched more basketball in the last couple of weeks than I had probably previously at any period of my life. And I definitely watched more of these NBA finals than ever before. But already, I think last year I was very intrigued by Joe Mazzulla. Perhaps the first time that he kind of popped up on my radar screen was in November when the royal family visited the Celtics facilities, and they asked Coach Mazzulla if he had been able to meet the royal family, and he answered back and he said that he only knew one royal family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And then when they went on to explain that they were talking about Prince William and Kate Middleton, he said that no, he had not met them. And so already there was very very interesting to see the way that he was projecting things in a very different manner than what the media might be expecting. And something that really jumped out at me, surprised me, and encouraged me was how after winning the final game, Game 5 of the finals, when you see the Celtics there and they're receiving the trophy and a few of them are speaking, there was a tremendous attitude of thankfulness and also giving a slight testimony of faith. Not over the top, not in your face, but very authentic and real. And that was something that really touched me. And I think that it shows really the power of the testimony and the faith of Coach Joe Mazzulla. We've probably all heard different stories about things that he's done, and about the way that he lives his faith in a very real way. Something that really jumped out at me was how a couple of weeks ago, as they were interviewing him in the context of coaching in the NBA Finals, and somebody mentioned that it was the first time that there were two black coaches in the NBA Finals since 1975, and so they asked Coach Mazzulla about this. What do you think about this, Joe? And he says, how many of them are Christian? And so once again, just kind of taking things to a completely different level and reflecting on things in a way that perhaps the news media isn't used to. But what I really love about it is that it's so authentic. It's not forced. It's not, believe in Jesus and all your problems go away. It's let's really try to have a good perspective on life. When they were asking Coach Joe about what he was going to do if he won the championship, he said, I'm going to go to the Holy Land and I'm going to walk from Jericho to Jerusalem, because I think that that's one of the best ways to recenter myself after something like this. And that as well, like time after time, I've just been floored by the way that he's handling reporters, by the way that he's handling these big, amazing accomplishments. Because to make it to the NBA Finals is incredible. And then to have a team that comes together, and it was one of the things that we were commenting a lot, just to see how everybody was stepping up. And obviously you have, these superstars, and you have Jaylen Brown, you have Jason Tatum, but the whole team came together. And seeing, especially Drew Holiday, Derek White, just absolutely incredible. I mean, everybody on the team really being a star and coming together, but then, each one of them individually pointing again to the team. The argument could be made that Jason Tatum was really pushing hard towards the end of the fourth quarter in Game 5 to win the MVP. But when, in the end it's Jaylen Brown, and it doesn't really seem to be sparking too much controversy. And there's much more unity and in gratitude and looking at the bigger picture than being self-centered. And for me, it's been so encouraging to see this in these athletes. I think it's got to be a tremendous temptation as a world-class athlete to really focus in on yourself. And I really credit Coach Mazzulla for taking things to a different level. Another thing that really jumped out at me is on an interview where they're asking him, during those last moments of the finals, how are you staying focused, or how do you kind of distract yourself? Do you watch different movies? Like, how do you kind of how do you get away? And and once again, his answer floored me, because he said, Well, I just went and I met 3 young women under 21 who all have terminal cancer. And you're just thinking, where is this guy from? Like what happened? Now we know he's from Rhode Island, but it's just, he's talking about really getting perspective in life and finding joy. And I really loved it because he brought the faith in there too. Because he said, see so many people lift up the trophy and they're excited and they give glory to God. But how about these moments? And he says, and that is what really helps to give perspective. And I'm very encouraged because it's been kind of this life of faith lived in a very authentic way in front of the whole country. And I think that that's something that's important. We don't have to make it seem like if you believe everything in your world gets better. And it's actually something that I've appreciated because even at one point he calls out to Jason Tatum and he says, I told you. And but then he also mentions, I told him we were going to win, but then I said, well, we could also lose. And I think that's the realism of the faith, that we want to work, we want to make things better, but we put things in God's hands, and we realize that not everything has to go our way. As just kind of the final example, he talked about how going down 3-0 last year was a great gift, and this really hit me as well, because how can losing, or being behind in a series 3-0, which they eventually lost in game 7, how can that be a gift? And he says, well, we really broke it down and we're able to see the different possessions and able to see what was the real difference, and it wasn't all that great. And then they made the adjustments both in strategy and some adjustments in personnel, and really having that support from the front office and really putting out a unified front, and now they're able to enjoy this great victory. And so kudos to them in a very special way. Kudos to Coach Mazzulla, and hopefully he continues to give this testimony of faith in a world that is, it's very tempting to be skeptical. It's very tempting to be jaded. And I think that he's somebody who can inspire us all to live our faith in our everyday lives and to love God above all else.